So we broadcast to where?
We are now live with Al Bug from GoThru. Thanks everyone for joining us. This is Mark Charette from WorkPix, and I'm having a brief interview with Al Bug from GoThru because there's been some very interesting events that have been happening in the background that I think most of us who are virtual tour photographers and publishing on the Google infrastructure are really going to want to know about this. So Al, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Real pleasure to have you online over here today. So tell me, Al, just before we get the ball rolling with this over here, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your business and what exactly it is that you do?
Yeah, so I started as a programmer. I always loved programming and creating new stuff out of nothing. And
right.
Yeah, and from that passion, I've started going into photography.
Right.
And for the start, I started with the real estate, and then when the Google Trusted Photographer program appeared, I saw it like a big opportunity to start actually doing something that I really loved and enjoy.
Right.
And now, as you know, Google Moderator had its issues over the time, and GoThru was born out of those issues and trying to address the shortcomings of Google Moderator. Especially the fact that we were not able to save a constellation. And
right.
2.5 years ago, I had a client, not a big client, but for me it was big back then, like 90 panels, 6 levels, and it was just so frustrating. I couldn't. And then I just started working on some scripts on my side and realized that, and stumbled into something that this has to be shared. I cannot just me or a few people to get access to these scripts. So it's the best solution that I saw back then was to create a plugin, and through that plugin to save the constellation on the GoThru server, and then you will be able to apply them back in the moderator.
Right.
And yeah, that was a great idea, and GoThru was the only actually company that did that for all the photographers.
Right. So just going to back up a little bit because there's some really interesting things about what you're talking about. Now, obviously, so you actually you have been running a photography business in Toronto, Canada for a few years now already. And if I remember right, I think you mentioned to me it's one of our prior conversations that you actually do this with your wife also. So both of you work as photographers, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Okay. And then so and this level of frustration of getting the big gig, and that's actually something that any of us, whenever we, as virtual tour photographers, I definitely agree because I've experienced that, and I should actually mention that, having been a client of yours and using your software, it's got me a lot of big snags, especially with the larger tours, which can get complex. Things can fail, you lose your internet connection and something like that, especially when you're in a remote location like I am in the middle of the Central Coast in Australia. So we have these challenges as photographers to make sure that our content is easy to publish and doesn't fail us, because we don't really want to start over from scratch. So you obviously used your background as a software engineer to get a better sense of what exactly could be done to fix this problem, if I'm correct. Yeah, cool. That's it, eh? So that's cool. And now we're moving into this next level, and I'm very curious because obviously there's a whole, there's a purpose for our conversation today, and sounds like there's been a bit of a big announcement. Tell me more about this.
Yeah. So last year in the summer, Google announced in Amsterdam that Google desktop moderator will be terminated.
Right.
And as a business, GoThru, that was its core like activity, the Google desktop moderator. So we've started to investigate what can be done, and we started actually to work on the moderator before Google announced that there will be an API. So probably 1 year ago, we started to work on the moderator.
Right. So what we're actually talking about here, just to give a little clarity to our listeners and viewers, you're actually replacing the moderator that allows us to do the publishing. That's what this thing is.
Yes, everything will go through GoThru, and I want to assure everyone that GoThru has the hardware capacity to process all the data that it will be sent to it.
Right.
So that's not an issue. So
this is a fascinating change of events in some respects, because I think there was we look at the online forums where we all communicate. We talk about all the announcements that Charles Armstrong was making about how things were changing back in Amsterdam, and obviously this was all brewing in the background, where we all knew something had to change, because the way that the Street View editor is operating and has been operating, it's on its last legs, right? That's really what it's been. And so having a plan B in place, and we also know that trying to publish using the mobile app, I don't know if you gave it a go. I gave up pretty quickly. It was just very difficult to do.
I've played a bit, but same like you. I prefer to have a mouse in my hand and a big monitor. And
absolutely. Yeah, I've actually seen, I can't remember who it was, but I saw someone using a full screen in portrait mode and running basically a tool that allows you to project your mobile device on this big screen. It's just, and some people have gone to great lengths to try to be able to use the Street View, Street View app.
People will do any sort of things as long as they can alleviate some of the pain. Because that tool, and I understand exactly what Google did with the Street View app. It addresses the masses,
right?
And it's perfect for them. But there is this small niche, which is us, which we need a professional tool. And
exactly.
Google was kind enough to create this API for us and not just leave us with the Street View app. So for that, it's a big thank you to Google.
Yeah, we complain a lot sometimes, and probably rightfully so, but at the same time we need to be thankful. In fact, after all, the platform is there for us to publish, and it's really what it is. It's a fantastic benefit for our clients. That's what it is. This is a great tool to help them project their business in the most effective way. So we have to be thankful for that. So I'd like to dig in a little bit more with exactly what are some of the changes that are taking place with the Street View editor. And in just a few moments, I think what we're going to do, we'll give a go at actually doing a bit of a screen share, and we can actually show people a little bit more about it. But before we go there, what are some of the key differences to what people were using before with Street View editor and what's coming up with Moderator?
So, right, everyone asked when the GoThru Moderator will be live. Now, the answer to that question is probably between 2 and 4 weeks from now. Yeah, there are some things on our side that we have to assure and make sure that it's properly QA. So
it looks like you got dinner now already, so we'll keep this short. We don't want that to get cold.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, let me rewind my.
Yeah, that's fine. So 2 to 4 weeks before it goes live.
yeah, 2 to 4 weeks before it goes live, we need to get the access to the API, to actually using the API, and a few security issues like tighten up on our side. But the moderator is working already, and you can publish a hosted tour in the GoThru ecosystem. So that's the first thing. Now, what are the differences between the GoThru and the Google moderator is that you can now align to panels in order to, so that's a big thing. It helps you moderate and align two panels much easier than it used to be. Plus, you have two tabs on the side of the moderator, and on the right side you have panels that are not connected to anything, and on the left side you have panels that are connected. So when you work on a big constellation, it's going to be much more easier to identify, okay, I didn't link to those.
Right.
You just take a look on the right side. Oh, now we have to understand that even in the situation that the GoThru moderator is right now, it's going to evolve. So we're going to add new features. So it's just not going to be like, and we are always listening to you. And if you have any suggestion, and the suggestion is a solid one, yes, we're going to go ahead and implement it.
Absolutely. No, it's great to have that flexibility. And the fact that we've actually got someone who's been in the virtual tour photography industry as yourself, you have a much better sense of what it is that we're likely to make a priority, and if it makes good sense, because you've been there yourself. Unlike a lot of software engineers and developers who probably originally designed the Street View editor, and I don't know this, I have no idea whether or not any of them were photographers before they designed it or not. But obviously we know, and we know you as from a community perspective, that as being a long-time photographer who's been doing a lot of shoots.
Yeah, we've shot over 450 shoots. So.
Wow, that's a fair amount. Yeah, I know exactly how long it takes to actually produce that, and I know some of the shoots are quite large. So that's a lot of photospheres. That's a lot of shooting. So maybe what we want to do now, if we can, is maybe dig a little bit deeper without going too deep, because of course, as you mentioned, there's a lot of development, a lot of evolvement that will be taking place. And I guess I could ask, is there even a chance that from now to the time it goes live, you're going to be either making some changes either in the layout or some of the features that are actually available?
The layout, I don't think so. But yes, right now, for example, the moderator doesn't support levels. But what I hope is by the time, like by 1 month from now, we will support levels inside moderator. Now, we need the support for levels because a lot of us have already tours saved in GoThru that are on levels. And if you load them right now into GoThru moderator, they will be on the same level, which is going to be like a big mess. Right. So one, we need the levels for like to have a clean constellation. Plus, in the future, hopefully Google will support levels for the Street View app venue. So yeah, that's something that we are working towards.
And any idea in terms of the timeline for some of these updates and upgrades?
I think we will have it in like 4 weeks. So
wow, that's fast.
2 to 3 weeks. No, this feature is actually, we can implement it really fast, but we need something else to be done first. So we can enter like the beta phase with the moderator, and then we can add this on top of it.
You just mentioned something I think it's probably important to highlight too, is that you are actually now in beta phase right now. And so
I wouldn't say like a beta phase. It's Yes, I can moderate, but I wouldn't call it beta, and just because it's not connecting yet to Google, and yeah, just because of
I
that.
got you. Okay, so it's beta in the sense that you can actually learn it, use it, but it won't actually publish in the Street View world as of yet.
Yeah, hopefully in about a week or less, we will be able to do that, but that will be only internally.
Looking forward to that. That's fabulous. Okay, so
Okay,
maybe we
so
can have a quick
let's
tour.
go ahead and create an sample tour. Let's say pick some recent shots where we don't have too many panoramas. We will just go ahead and create a new listing, and we'll just type in the business name, and we get the business. And let's go ahead and create a new tour. So we're going to create a tour. We have the CAD in here. And now we're going to start uploading the panoramas for this tour. So to do that, you can either click on this, or you can select the panoramas and drag them in here. Now this is going to take
some time.
Yeah, some time.
Yeah, that's all. That's one of the first things that I think everyone needs to be aware of, is that if, depending on the speed of your internet connection, the download of the images obviously is going to be, but that's no different than it used to be when you used to push the images up to the Street View editor, up to the Google Photos app first. So this is essentially the equivalent of taking your photos from your computer, putting it into Google Photos.
Yes, that's exactly the same thing.
Okay.
And one thing that I want to mention is that all these panoramas that you will be uploading to GoThru, they will be stored locally by GoThru in
So this
full
is like
size.
So in other words, we're talking about effectively a backup system.
Yes, so there will be a backup system in place. Now, this backup system will not be like, okay, ready, available, like instant.
Okay.
Probably the images will stay in the system for about 2 weeks after you publish the tour, like full-size images, and then they will be migrated inside GoThru into a backup place. Now, when you gonna need access again to that tour, there is an import button, and what that import button does is takes the full-size panels from the backup and brings them into the first layer, let's say, of GoThru,
Sure.
where you can work with the panoramas.
Okay, so what we're getting then is the ability to, short term, you make a little bit of a boo-boo, or there's a change or a request for change based on the initial launch,
even right now,
back.
Even right now, you've uploaded all these panels, and let's say you moderated them, and they forgot, oh, I just forgot one panel. You just go back and you upload a new panel.
That in itself is a major advantage.
So that it's easy as that. So let's go ahead and open the moderator. Okay, so the way you get the panels in here on the map, they are randomly right now. GoThru is working on auto moderator system, and hopefully will be in place by the time the Google moderator will be down. So
yeah, I think most of us though, we're pretty used to doing our own positioning and not needing the auto. The auto, when it happens, it usually messes up, and then you have to undo it and redo it anyway. So I think that's not a big issue for most people. When it works, it's just a nice surprise.
So the way this works is you get you get to start with the panoramas on the right side.
Okay.
And you take a look. Okay, you know where you had your next panel, and then you try to identify the next panel on here. So probably is this one. You can take a look around here. This is like a small preview.
Sure.
So okay, that's the next one. And the next is we're gonna zoom in this panel, and zoom out. We have we can use the keyboard for like from 1 to 0 to change the transparency of this panorama. And we want to try to match these features in here. I think we are pretty much okay. And when you are satisfied with the alignment, you just click like the next arrow, and then you go back. And you can actually use the keyboard arrows also. So right now, yeah.
Right. Okay, that looks quite easy.
So also I have kept the F key, so you can flip. If you're not happy, you can switch back and from the keyboard. And now let's go ahead and add this one. Let's change the transparency a bit.
That's an interesting feature to have, transparency.
Yeah, so I think it's okay. Now let's solidify this link, and we can go back and see. Okay. Now we can go here, and let's see if this is the next one. Yeah, this looks like the next one. And we're gonna match these. Let's flip. Good. And now let's add this one. Flip. Perfect. Flip. Yeah, good.
This is fabulous. This is so much. I'm actually thinking in terms of time right now. I was being very quiet just to let people see what's going on so that the screen didn't switch over, but just want to mention exactly how fast this is in comparison to what we've been used to, because we're not having to do so much of the positioning that we used in the past. This is
no, you can still do the positioning, and I will see you. I will show you yeah, right after this. So now we are just. The point is, like, you know where you've shot the next panel, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just point it to that place. So right now we have like quite a good constellation.
Yeah.
And we can go ahead and scale it up, rotate it. Oops.
So this even has the ability to actually control it after the fact too. So that's again, fabulous layout.
Yeah, and let's. Also, one thing that I don't know if you notice is when I moderate and zoom, the panel gets like automatically positioned further away or based on the zoom. So you get some.
Right. So the zoom is actually a control to get the distance between.
The distance, yes.
Right. Okay, good. That's a useful tip too in terms of knowing about it.
Okay. So let's say the distance here is too small, yeah? So we're just gonna take this panel and move it here.
Right.
And let's say the angle is not correct, yeah? Or we can just fix the angle from here. So there are two ways to actually moderate. You can moderate the old way, like this,
yes,
or the other way from overlapping the panels.
Right. Okay. So what we're doing is essentially you're providing an additional means to ensure the alignment, but it's like you can switch back and forth between the two methods. The old way of doing things and back into the new way.
Yeah. And the thing is, where with these side bars, like the map gets really small. So that's why we implemented this scale thing, so we can. Yeah, what we have also, it's this zoom, really huge zoom inside the map.
Yeah.
That's a very good, cool feature. Like you cannot do normally with Google Maps. This type
Actually,
of
it's one of the things I used to always find fascinating. I don't know if you used to do this, but I actually would load up Google Earth or Google Maps itself and and check out the space on that map, because it was actually able to zoom further than what you could get out of the Street View editor. And that was a way for sometimes just getting the alignment just right.
So what other feature GoThru supports right now? It's autosave. So you will be able to, like by default, GoThru will have it on 30 minutes. Now, what's going to happen with these two type of savings is when you, and people that have used GoThru Moderator, they already know that when you save right now, GoThru also, besides saving the constellation in the database, saves that constellation as a zip file.
Okay.
Under your account.
Right.
Because what's happening, yeah, you can override your constellation. And that has a lot valid in the Google Desktop Moderator, yeah, where you would, instead of pressing apply, you would press save and you overwrite your constellation. So then you can just go back and restore a constellation from the zip.
Right.
Now, I want to keep that also. So when you're going to press save, GoThru will store a zip constellation for you.
Right.
When it's on auto, then it's going to be directly straight to the database.
All right. So one's the zip, one's to the database, but they both actually give you the ability to
they go both database. Is just this save goes one extra leg to have a backup. And then you will be able to revert to that specific backup.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. So right now we saved it, and we can go back in here. We can reload, and we have the constellation moderated. What other things that you can do? You can lock the panoramas. Yeah. You can lock the panoramas. We have still a small bug in here. Well, if you're rotating this, it's not properly rotating. So it's not perfect yet, but we are working towards it.
It comes down to that if you've actually lined it up properly in the first place, it shouldn't be an issue. You know, it's the locking is, you know, the only time I use the locking more as a means of reminding myself that I don't need to go back to that line. In some respects.
This is more for when you work on huge constellations and you have to do stuff, and but everything else like works. Is just like small. That's a small little bug that we have to fix. So another feature that we'll be adding, and that's preview. So you will get with GoThru instant preview for your tours.
Okay. Which we actually did have with the Street View editor to some degree, in that, you know, you were able to.
Yeah, but it was always it was buggy. Sometimes the client was requesting a preview and the tour was publishing.
Yeah.
And so right now I haven't implemented the preview, but what I can do is just go ahead and create a hosted tour, and then that will.
It's effectively a preview. It's just not gone.
Yeah, it will be a preview. Yeah, theoretically, what the hosted tour does, like what GoThru is using as the viewer on its side, is KR panel. So what the hosting tool does is it takes the panorama and splits it into a cube. Now a preview will not do that. It will work with the full-size panorama. So it will be slower, and probably I will downgrade a bit the quality of the panel, so it will be slower and a bit not like the full-size resolution.
Sure.
But you will be able to navigate around and showcase the tour. So
good enough to be able to show to the client that especially in a situation where there's a large client, you need proof of concept. They need to be able to have a discussion around where there's multiple decision makers. It's a great tool for those types of situations.
Yeah. So that's in big, like how the moderator works. Things here we'll have to clean them up and tie them up a bit. It's starting to get crazy, but it's.
Al, you're just getting too good. That's the problem. You're adding so many features.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna stop. It's there. I have like bigger plans, and we will find them when I'm ready to share them.
I'm looking forward to it. As I mentioned, like I don't know whether or not I haven't mentioned this obviously in the podcast already, but the the 360 video, that's actually been, that in itself as a tool has been actually very, very useful. I've found that clients have loved that as an extra. In fact, actually, there's in some cases I use it as a thank you for your business for repeat clients or that kind of thing. Because it doesn't take that much time to create, but it's actually a pretty high value feature.
Yeah, and right now it just got an upgrade. All the 360 video tool was not able to. You were not able to select the starting point inside the panel, and the main reason was that it was GoThru was working with images from Google, and the thumbnails from Google were not matching the full-size panels from Google. Now, the way GoThru was redesigned is going to work with full-size panels all the time. So you're actually going to be able to select the starting point. And another nice feature is you will be able to upload as many bumper cards as you want. Right now you are limited to only one bumper card, and that's in the front of the video, where you can put the logo and stuff like that. Like, just for someone to understand what a bumper card is, slide is. Usually when you look at the video, you have an introduction or something at the end.
Yes.
So in GoThru, that is really easy. You just upload a square a panorama, a square image that's and right now it has to have a specific size, but in future you just upload your own, and yes, depending on the quality of the square, the size of the square that you upload, that will be it will reflect in the video. So if you upload a high quality square, it will be a high quality slide inside the video. So
one thing that obviously we got to mention, because to some degree the vast majority of us are quite comfortable in creating those types of things in Photoshop or other photo editing tools, but you got to know what you're doing a little tiny bit to be able to create that. And if I remember right, actually, you actually did create in your help screens some good sample ideas as to how to actually size the actual piece so that it actually fits well into that space. So those kinds of things, definitely very, very simple to do. The other thing I wanted to bring up is because I'm noticing that if we look at the GoThru tool historically up until now, you've added a lot more tabs, which is what you're talking about. You're adding all these extra features into the actual into the moderator tool. Is the layout or the way that it's been in the past, you're going to continue to use that same visual look at this point?
Regarding those buttons under the tools, I will probably have a drop down. Google will also approach this the same way. Like when you have a lot of tools, you just have a drop down and you select from the drop down. So you have like the main ones like moderate, upload panels, and stuff like that. They are big buttons. But if you want to have like a download or something else, you just have that select box, and then you select whatever you want to do.
Fabulous.
So
Okay.
that's one approach. Yeah.
I think that's actually a really interesting point, because of course, what we actually use as users of your software is, we think in terms of how is this actually going to help me? How is this going to take away some of the pain points and keep things organized and allow me to publish efficiently with high quality, and get on to the next job? Because of course, what we want to do is go back to our customers and our clients and say, look, here's the product, we're ready to go. We want to get to that point where they're absolutely fascinated with the quality, and we're in a position to ask for referrals and move on to the next client. So every little bit of every one of these small changes in the way that you're developing it actually helps us to be more efficient as a business, and that's a really important thing. So, is there anything else?
Yeah,
go ahead.
And in the future, like already have it on beta, but we're gonna have marketing tools like where you can send emails directly from your GoThru account to clients, discover businesses on Facebook and stuff like that.
Wow.
So we will have all these tools, but let's push this baby out first.
One step at a time. But it sounds like the plans are big. The plans are actually, I'll say, huge, because when it comes to our ability to continue to use a platform that many of us are already familiar with, which is your tool, I can see where this is. It's really nice to see that you've actually been able to align yourself so well with Google, and that they've opened up this API so that you could develop this. And I am looking very much forward to seeing what the future developments are going to look like. I just want to make sure, because we want to try to tie this up, because I'm sure there's going to be an opportunity for us in the near future again to maybe have a chat and talk about some of the additional features that you've added when they go live, and possibly even do some training sessions for people so they know how to make the best use of GoThru. Is there any other major issues that we would want to make sure we discuss and bring it to people at this point in time?
No, I don't think about any issues. It's only positive stuff.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Excellent. All right. I'm really glad that we've had a chance to have a chat, and you've been able to show this to everyone. And I'd suggest that maybe what we do is, in maybe a few weeks from now, let's revisit once you go live, when the switch flips and it's gone to live. We should have another one of these sessions again, Al, and maybe talk about what has changed, what has progressed, what is still in a work in progress, just so that people are aware of how to use GoThru in the most effective way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do that. That's okay with me.
That sounds great. All right. Well, again, where can people find you, and how can they get in contact with you?
Once you look at GoThru website, you will find that there are like 2 emails there, like info@gothru.co and support@gothru.co. So if you have a question, just hit one of those emails. And also, I'm always on Facebook. I think I live on Facebook. You can find me either in GoThru forum or on the Google Trusted Photographer forum.
Right.
So those are
probably the best places to get a hold of you.
I'm very easily reachable. Hangouts, if anyone needs a hangout, I'm available. So
yeah, sounds good. All right. Well, again, thank you very much for your time and for showing us these wonderful new developments. What an announcement! This is a big deal. I mean, really, we've been waiting for something that's been an improvement over the Street View Editor for some time now, and this is actually a very positive move, I think, on the part of Google and on your part to actually take the time and the initiative to develop such a fabulous tool. So thanks for that, and thank you for your time today. And looking forward to having a next chat in a few weeks from now.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. It was like a pleasure talking with you, and looking forward for the next chat.
Sounds good.
It's gonna be like 2 months of fire for me.
Just remember to eat that dinner before it gets too cold. All right, Al,
Okay,
take care.
thank you.
Pleasure
Bye
chatting. Bye
bye.
for now. Bye-bye.